Hello everybody, it's Richard Seaton here. I am Business Ninja. I've been away from BLAB for a while due to a few health issues which are now resolved, so I'm back with a vengeance. And Glenn's off to get a cup of tea, so that's always a good move. Anybody else want to do that? This is the best time to do it. I'm going to talk to you today about strategy and how it's so important in business to have a strategy. I started 2 years ago in May 2014 online marketing, and I went in with all guns blazing, as you do. And at some point, about 18 months down the line, I realized that actually I hadn't got a strategy. I was flailing around in the dark, trying many different things, and really, I was getting success somehow, but not due to following a plan. And very recently, I thought it's time to start producing a coherent strategy. So that's what I did. I got it the wrong way round. I would highly recommend everybody to sit down and get a strategy worked out first. So what is a strategy? A strategy is what you do on a daily basis. It's the tasks that you carry out each day and every day. I decided quite recently to try a very simple approach. I thought, I'm going to start this business right from scratch and begin again. So what I did is I got to the simplest system I know, which is Excel, and I opened up a spreadsheet, and I put down on the left hand side the list of tasks I need to do every day, and then along the top I put a completion date and a completion time for each one. I'm going to do a little slide share for this. In fact, it's almost finished, and if anybody wants that slide share, it's very basic Microsoft Excel, how to set up a sheet and how to update it on a daily basis. Okay, so if anybody wants that, just email me. I'll put my email address in here. So rickony@gmail.com gives you a clue where I live, down in the lovely Wye Valley here. It's freezing cold at the moment. Right, I'm also going to put a link in later to a post I've done all about this strategy technique that I've come up with. Basically, I have 9 activities that I carry out each day. I'll also put the link in, actually, because I think some people might find that useful. It's I'll just paste and copy that in for you now. This is where it all began, the idea of doing this. Let's just get that. Bear with me, guys. I'm struggling here. My paste and copy thing. Whoops. Here it is. Copy paste. Great, back to the BLAB, paste in. Right, there's the link to this spreadsheet idea that I've come up with. If you read the post, it will give you a lot more information as to exactly how it works. As I said, I'm also going to do a little short slideshare video for you for everybody who absolutely has no idea at all how to use Microsoft Excel. A lot of people, as soon as they look at Excel, they go, too many buttons, too complicated, not sure how it works. Actually, once you get your head around it, it is an extremely powerful tool, and I use it a lot in my business. And of course, the best thing about it, which is what I love more than anything, is it's free. It doesn't cost a penny. So I'll also, if you email me, I'll send you the link on that slideshare presentation. So what we want to do in our day is to do things that are going to promote our business. So the strategy that we use on a daily basis, we need to find things that we're going to do which are going to promote our business. Now, those fall into 2 categories. There's income producing activities, they're IPAs. Now, an income producing activity is something like, for example, a solo ad. You send a solo ad out to your list, you'll immediately get results. Another one would be promoting a splash page or a squeeze page that you've put up together to promote a product. So that's an income producing activity. So you need to hit 3 of those a day. You need to be doing 3 of those. The rest of the things are mid and long term strategies, like blog hopping, which is going to different people's blogs and reading thoroughly what they've put in their blogs and replying to the ones that you've got some kudos on and something you know about. Those aren't instant producing. You're not producing income with those activities. What you're doing is you're building up a know, like, trust relationship. So those are the mid-term strategies. The long-term strategies would be things like making a very solid presence on social networking over a period of time, becoming an authority on the thing you're doing. By the way, at this point, if anybody feels like chiming in, I can unlock the seat, and anybody who wants to join in the conversation when I finish this presentation can come in. Be very nice. I'm not going to go on too long today. This is my first one for 3 or 4 months. And to be honest with you, I've been really looking forward to it. But I'm not in as comfortable a zone as I had been when I was doing them 2 or 3 times a week. So I hope this is the beginning of me relaxing back into what I love about this platform. Has anybody got any comments? Please chuck them in the chat box there, and I'll answer them as we go along. Excited and thrilled to see Glenn.
I don't know if my microphone's working. Is this microphone working?
I hear you very well. Yes, Glenn, it's good.
I didn't know if it automatically picked this one up or if it used my horrible laptop mic or what.
Good old snowballs, eh?
Yep.
Can you hear me clearly? Mine's quite a way off from the...
Yeah, loud and clear. Perfectly well, Richard.
I'm not sure how to pronounce your name. Type in the box if I've got it right, Sherma. And if I've got it wrong, you won't know I'm talking to you. So what we've been talking about, Sherma, is... I'm trying to read your name. How are you? So happy to join you. Thank you very much. It's very nice to see you on here. Do you know what we're talking about today? We're talking very simply about what is your strategy and what you do every day to promote the business I assume you're in online. So if you want to type a little bit in there just to tell us what you do, we'd be more than happy to read it. So what have you thought so far, Glenn? I've just been talking about IPA, which is income producing activities. What's your thoughts on those?
Yeah, well, you know me, I'm quite, this is something that I'm really big on. I think it's exactly what you said a moment ago about people very often thinking they have a strategy, but what they're actually getting confused with is they've not actually got a strategy. They've got a goal. They've got somewhere where they want to be. They've got things they want. They have results they want. Well, that's not a strategy. That's just an end result. You need your strategy to be able to get there. So, yeah, I mean, you've highlighted those points very well about how you need to have those things that are really going to be directly related to your income. I mean, at the end of the day, everything that you do with regards to your business, whether it be something like social media or whether it be writing a blog post or working on your theme on your blog, whatever, all those things can be important, but they have different levels of importance. So the important thing with regards to your strategy is you should always prioritize effectively. You need to ask yourself, when you're coming up with your strategy, ask yourself which of these tasks that I have planned is going to directly result or directly contribute to the growth of my business, which is...
Just changing my glasses because I can't see the comments.
So, which of these aspects of my strategy are going to directly result in me making money ultimately, because the point of having a business, obviously, is to make money. Otherwise, we wouldn't have a business. So when we're coming up with the things that we're going to, or we're intending to implement as part of our strategy, the things that have a direct bearing at that moment on pushing our business forwards should be the things that we give priority to, not things like spending time checking emails, unless we're expecting something that's, again, directly related to the growth of our business at that moment.
Just say something there, Glenn. I came up with this in my blog about I found myself opening emails instead of doing productive stuff. And then I thought, well, hang on, I've got a strategy here. Why not slot in 40 minutes a day just to emails? Then I am answering emails and it's part of my strategy. So, obviously some of them won't be any use and some of them will be. So I actually think you can slot that in as part of your strategy. There you go. I think you should do.
Yeah, of course you can. I mean, at the end of the day, it's just analysing each thing and asking yourself, is this going to help me at this moment in time? Is this something that's going to help me push my business forward? Is this something that's going to have a direct bearing on the growth of my business and therefore in turn make me money? If it isn't, then it needs to go further down the pecking order. You need to give the priority to the things that are going to directly have a bearing or have a direct bearing on the growth of your business at that time. And that's very often where people get it wrong, because they feel I've got to do this and this and this and this and this. And they will give very often attention to the things that are the more, shall we say, sexy, the more interesting, the things that they like doing, things like messing around with blog themes and plugins and experimenting with new software. But that
have you been looking over my shoulder?
I've been looking over my own shoulder. I've been doing this for a long time. I know the things that people do.
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying there, but also I don't think that everything you do should be for short-term remuneration. I think, yes, you need a daily income to support your business, but you also need to be looking into the future as to how your activities over a longer period of time are going to build up to promote your business as a whole. So yes, you need your daily activities to bring some money in, but you also need your long-term strategies to sustain that business, which I'm sure you would agree with.
Yeah, and that's really what I'm meaning. It's not being a case of being short-sighted and thinking, right, I need to make money now. It's a case of, what is it that I am doing now at this moment? How is this particular thing going to help me advance with my business and grow my business? Because, at the end of the day, let's use a blog, for example. You could put up a blog and have good content that teaches and gives value. You could have products for sale on that blog. You could have banner advertisements that are affiliate offers. All that will work without, say, for example, a nice fancy theme. A fancy theme will help enhance it and can help the user end experience, but that in itself isn't going to have any direct bearing at that moment on the advancement of your business. So that something like that would be secondary. So if that's on your list in part of your strategy that you need to do on a particular day, you would give that logically a lower priority than something like creating a product, engaging with potential clients, increasing your reach. All those things are things that are going to directly have a bearing on your business. So it's a case of just prioritizing.
I have to say, you met me when I first joined here, I think, which was about 2 years ago. We got involved in the same business, didn't we? And right at the start of the training that we did, the point we were brought up on all the time by Dean Holland was, and various other people, was make sure you get your strategy in place before you start your work. Now, I wonder how many people really do that, because I certainly didn't. It's taken me to be, if I'm really honest, okay, here it is. I think it's taken me 2 years to get to the point of working out what my strategy is, because I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know which direction my business was meant to be going. And I didn't have, another very important thing I hadn't found was my passion, the things that I really am, good at. And I think this is one of them. I think blogging's another. And, those are two things that I'm going to really concentrate on, because those are two things that I feel passionate about. I don't feel passionate about forum marketing, but I know I need to do it. So I'll be having a go at that. But I think passion's vital. And you look at some marketers, shall I mention names? Good people, like, very fired up people like Michael Chaney, for example, who is absolutely obsessed with what he does. He does it 25 hours a day, and he's an amazing guy. I mean, he is totally obsessed and absolutely passionate about what he does, and nobody can take that away. Nobody will stop him doing that and being that passionate. Some other marketers are forcing themselves to become interested in things that they're not, and you can see that a mile off. I know when I do a certain activity, my heart's not in it, and I know people spot that, and I'm thinking, if I keep pushing and trying to get my head around this, maybe one day, I'll be passionate about it. But I don't think it works like that. I think the passion has to come first. What do you think of that idea?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's one of those things that, as you say, people can tell. And even if they don't sit there and think, oh, this guy's not passionate, they don't necessarily put on it directly, but subconsciously it will have an effect in as much as how they relate to you or indeed don't relate to you. In fact, there's a very, I might have told you about this before, there's a very good video you can find online. You can find it if you search on YouTube, of Frank Kern. And Frank Kern was talking on, he did an hour and a half, 2 hour presentation on stage. And he talked about this very thing, and he said about how important it is to have that real genuine interest in what it is, that real passion and desire for that particular thing that you're involved in. So because people they'll pick up on subtle things, even in the written word, how you present yourself in your sales copy or your blog post, whatever. People pick up on that, and it's just so vitally important. You've got to have an absolute genuine interest, and this comes back to the whole thing, what you were saying at the beginning about having a business and having a strategy. It's not enough just to make money. That's not sufficient. You have to have a deep-seated desire and passion for what it is that you're doing, and you've got to have that interest in the task at hand. So if you're somebody who's in the make money online niche, for example, so you're helping other people to learn how to start their own businesses, that's something you've got to take a vested interest in. You've got to be interested in the person. You've got to feel passionate about helping that person, whether that be through your blog post, through an ebook that you create, a video, a BLAB, whatever it is. You've got to have that interest in the person. If you're doing it.
Absolutely. I was just going to chime in there with, you and I both have a passion for music. We both play.
Yeah.
We can't pretend we do. We can't turn up to a gig and say, I'm really interested in music. It'll be obvious we're not as soon as we pick up a guitar or a violin, but it's very obvious in that. But, that passion has always been in my life and in yours. You don't come across a passion. It's something you're born with, I believe, and you just have to discover it. And very often I'll sit there. I do a bit of meditation because I find that brings me down and focuses me very well. And while I'm doing that, sometimes I examine my motives for doing things. And why am I doing solo ads to make money? I'm not doing solo ads, the different strategies I'm doing for different reasons. And I try to get rid of the ones that I'm not passionate about. You've got to be careful there, though. I mean, Dean Holland, the guy that is the CEO of iPro Internet Partners, he's extremely passionate about what he does, and he seems to be able to transfer that passion into any niche. But if he doesn't feel passionate, what does he do? He gets someone else to do it, which is where you want to be. If you don't like designing splash pages, don't pretend you do, and spend hours doing bad ones. Send them out to somebody who does love designing them. That's all I was going to say. You can't feign the passion. And then there's obsession, which is not passion. Obsession isn't driven from the heart. It's driven from a very overactive mind, and that's a different thing completely. I'm going to do a blog, funnily enough, on passion versus obsession and defining the two. But I don't want to get too psychological about it, but it's fun to explore those things.
Oh, yeah. And I think another couple of good points to bear in mind about passion as well, just in line with what you were saying there, is that even if there's a particular thing, a particular aspect that you don't feel that you particularly like, some people don't like blogging very much. Some people don't like creating squeeze pages, whatever it is. If your deep-seated desire, if you're that passion that you have, for example, helping people, teaching people, coaching them, mentoring them, if that is something you feel passionate about, then whatever it is that you're doing, even if that particular task isn't the most enjoyable, you can still find that you can do it with enjoyment because you feel passionate about the end result. Again, it's you're focusing on the reason why you're doing it rather than the thing itself.
The task itself, absolutely. We both know. Yeah, carry on, sorry.
I was just going to say, conversely, again, what you were saying about not being able to fake the passion. If your passion is not selfless, if your passion is like making money, for example, then that is in turn going to have an effect on everything that you do, and people will pick up on that. People can tell the difference between, you know, an internet marketer who has a genuine interest in the person or people that they're talking to and they're trying to teach and help, against a person who is in it solely for the money, and they're driven by making money. They're driven by, you know, that desire to accumulate wealth. And in itself, obviously, we're in business because we want to make money. That's a given. But that can't be the driving force. That can't be the reason for our passion. Because if it is, we're going to run out of steam. We're going to get frustrated, and people are going to get frustrated with us. People will pick up on that.
We both know marketers. We both know marketers, don't we, Glenn? Who bang on about their one desire is to help people and help them with their business, but for some reason, whenever you read a post that they do, you know that jolly well isn't the reason why they're doing it. And conversely, you know, you can pick up immediately the people who are genuinely out there to, you know, help others in the marketplace. You know, I can actually now, I'm good enough now to be able to read someone's blog, and within a couple of minutes or a couple of sentences, I know where they're coming from, and there's nothing they can convince me otherwise. There's no way they can, you know. Conversely, I mean, I'll spend hours talking to people who are genuine. I absolutely love it and lap it up, same as you. Glenn and I spend a lot of time, you know, just sharing ideas because we're friends on the internet now. It's there's some great things you can find out just by talking to people.
And that's really the key in this line of business. That is the absolute key, because if you're talking to people, if you have a genuine interest in your audience, in your customers, your clients, you know, your prospective customers and clients, if you have that genuine interest and you're listening to what they say, you're listening to what their needs are and their wants are, then you're going to be in a better position and be better qualified to be able to help them and give them and provide what they actually need.
I'm just going to ask our chairman, Ella Hui, who's also sitting here listening to what we're saying. Is any of this making any sense to you? Is it something that's ringing any bells for you, chairman? I hope I've got your name right. I'm really bad at all this, you know, but, you know, do just type in the chat box if there's anything that you have, any questions you have, anything that Glenn and I can help you with. We're both actually, you know, fairly established in the marketplace, and we do have some useful stuff. If anything, here we go. He's using, Chairman is using, looking at the link. That's good. Well, if you email me, I'll send you what I've just put together. It'll be finished today. It's a slide share on simply how to start up with using Excel for your strategy guide sheet. It really will help you. You've no idea. I've got top marketers in this business who actually came onto my blog, and they've said some wonderful things about this very simple school level activity that we've never got our heads around because we've never had the time to sit down and learn how to use Excel. And, you know, I'm actually a great fan of Excel. It's just the more I look into it, the more amazing it is. It's the stuff you can do with it. I don't really, Ruby, if you're still here, please accept my apologies. I still don't quite understand how all these little icons and buttons work. They sort of keep jumping up and down and bouncing around, but I never know quite what they're doing. Come on, Glenn, give us some claps. Clap on my photograph.
On a different tab at the moment.
Yeah, see, this is another thing you've got to watch, guys. It's called distraction. It's when you go drifting off topic because you're not fully engaged. It's thanks, Glenn.
I'll tell you the reason why. I was just checking that I had actually shared your blab on Twitter because I was intending to. So I was just checking that I had actually done it.
Okay, big humble pie. Sorry. Yeah. What we were talking about just now was, wasn't it? It was passion. How you can tell if people are passionate about what they're doing. Yeah. We were starting off with strategy, and we sort of edged into passion because I think without passion, the strategy won't work. Oh, that's not true, but it'll work much better if you're passionate about what you're using a strategy with. That's what I was meaning.
I'm trying to hide and come in secretly, but I found them out. I know who it is.
Well, that's good to know. We all need good backup, Glenn. I'm glad you're here.
There's no hiding from me. There's no escaping from me.
Another thing, for those of you who are not involved in the business system that we're using, which is the Internet Profit System, the reason we do these labs and periscopes and webinars and all sorts of things isn't just to talk to each other. We actually are very keen to share what we know and to find out what other people are doing. So anyone on here, like yourself, you've just sent me your email address. We will build up a nice relationship from this, and I'm sure we'll have some good things. Some good things will come from sharing some information, and that's what this is really about. It's not about me and Glenn, talking to each other. We can do that on the telephone. What this is really about is inviting other people to come in and share the adventure that we're both on. We're both still working towards our strategy, our goals. We haven't reached them by any means, but it's a great journey. And if you've got people to share that journey with you, that can be part of your strategy. We have a fantastic support group in the group that I'm in. There's 500, 600, 700 people, and some of them are very active. And, I think I've got more help, support, information, and general direction just from talking to them than from doing all the training, because they're in the same place as I am. All the guys we work with are actually all trying to get their businesses working, and I get more from them than I give out, which is, I try to keep the balance right, but it's very hard because they keep giving me information. Anyway, it's true, isn't it, Glenn? Support and the community is so vital to this, because you can get into dark places sometimes on your own.
Oh, yeah.
I know that.
Yeah, definitely. Because I think the problem, there's so many problems with, not wanting to put anybody off the idea of online business and making money through the internet, but because the internet is still, in comparative terms, it's still relatively in its infancy. And
Absolutely.
Online business, as a result, is in its infancy. So it's fraught with potential problems. And some of those problems are people, just as we said before, being solely interested in the money side of it and at the expense of everything else, rather than putting priority in helping people and being passionate about teaching people and helping them to succeed. The problems of not knowing what to do, problems of you pay somebody to try and find out what to do. You might buy a product or a course or get some kind of pay for some kind of help, but then there are components missing, and then that puts you off. And then there's the other aspect, just as you were saying, Richard, about the community side of things, is that it can be a very lonely thing. You might be somebody who's just sitting at home, like me, for example. I live alone here now, and I sit at my computer, and it's me. I haven't even got the cat anymore. It's just me.
Yes,
and
that was a sad day.
So it's some people, it can really affect them. If they're there and they're just trying to slog away at this and trying to work out just how can I build my online business? Where do I get started? What do I do if this happens? What do I do if I get stuck? What do I do if I feel down and fed up? All this kind of stuff. If you're just there on your own and you haven't got that support network, it can be devastating. And all these things that we've just mentioned can be a lot of the contributing factors to people giving up and putting them off. But Absolutely. When you have a really good community, like we were just saying that we have, it's invaluable. And it's going to vary from person to person. Some people, that's more important to some people than others. Some people thrive on that. They need that interaction on a daily basis, almost constantly. Whereas, someone like myself, I can work on my own, and I am quite happy and content to work by myself. And I find that I'm the sort of person, even when I used to work in a 9-to-5 job and worked in an office, I was better if people just left me alone. Don't bother me. I know what my job is. Get away, and I'll do the job better. But it's when people start interfering that I would find that it would slow me down. So, I'm quite happy to work on my own, but not everybody's like that. Some people, it is a very, very lonely existence trying to have an online business and run and maintain an online business. So
I remember when, absolutely.
Vital.
When I first started out, I didn't know or trust anybody in the marketing industry. I didn't know anyone, and all I heard was that it's full of people trying to rip you off and not help you at all and get as much money out of you as possible. I now know that's not true. And then the last 2 years, rather than become more cynical about internet marketing, I've actually found probably hundreds of friends, all of whom, there are a lot of really genuine marketers out there. And that was such a relief to know that. So I'm not working on my own. I know, for example, if I have a bad day, there's lots of people I can email and talk to, or if I'm stuck with something, I mean, all I've got to do is put a post up on the Facebook group and I'll get 20 replies. And also, because I've been now for 2 years in the same group, I've got some sort of respect. I don't mean I'm a wonderful guy or anything, but people know me and they trust me a little. Well, yes, but that's not really what I'm not. I'll let you do the promoting. No, we both know what we're doing in our own areas, and people have noticed that now because we've been doing it for a long time. And the fact of the matter is that we sometimes forget what we know. We think we can get lost on our own and go back to the point where we started and think, I know nothing, I'm no good, I'm never going to make it. And then suddenly you'll get an email or a blog comment, and you'll suddenly no, that's not true. Actually, I do know what I'm doing. I have learned something over the past 2 years. Some people who are still forming and finding themselves in this will get days when they have to, sit down and look at themselves and examine. And let's face it, Glenn, this journey isn't something you do and stay the same all the way through. You're constantly changing, growing, blossoming, hopefully. And as you are doing, your total perception on everything will change on a daily basis. So what I thought yesterday, and I know this for a fact now, that what I thought yesterday is absolutely not how I'm seeing it today. Things have changed for me. In the last 3 days, things have changed massively for me just from finding this strategy. Yes, I see now you're reading about business strategy there. That is an incredibly important little blog. So read it. It's actually gold dust, that. And it was one of those moments. I just sat down and I just wrote it. And that was totally from the heart. And that was where I was at the time I wrote that, was where I just discovered strategy after 2 years of trying to market without it and being told by all the experts, why haven't you got a strategy? I've got a strategy. I get up in the morning and I do stuff. That's my strategy. No, you have to itemize it. You have to write it down. You have to make it in granite on the wall, and then you have to follow it. It's like that's how it works.
I think it was 2 or 3 weeks ago. I actually did a coaching webinar on Thursday about the subject was how to strategize your strategy. And I made the point about exactly what you were saying, Richard, that sometimes people think they have a strategy, but in actual fact...
Just welcome Andrew. Hi, Andrew. Thanks for joining us. We're talking about strategy, and I've just interrupted Glenn again. Carry on, sir.
Sorry, I'm used to it. So yeah, people very often think, well, I have a strategy. So, for example, the strategy might be in a particular day, right? I need to write a blog post. I need to go on, expand my reach on social media. I need to do some paid advertising and whatever it is. But that's not a strategy. That's well, I mean, it's a strategy, but it's not sort of pinned down enough. You need to go into it even further. You need to know exactly what it is that you're doing, the actual tasks that make up each of those steps. Know how long it's going to take you, how long you're going to assign to each step. And you've got to plan everything out. And when you do that, your productivity increases because you are absolutely laser focused. You're not kind of just drifting. You're not just getting up in the morning, sitting at your computer and saying, right, I'm going to work now. What do I do? And usually the first thing that people do when they go on the computer, either check their emails or they check Facebook, which is such a potential time killer. Because by the time you go on there, or YouTube, you get some other link that you want to check out. And before you know it, you spent 2 or 3 hours. And then it's time to have a break because you need something to eat. And then you don't feel like going straight back to work again. So before you know it, half a day's gone, the whole day's gone. And I know when I've not had a strategy and not actually planned out my strategy effectively, I've got to the end of the day and actually sat here and said to myself, well, that was a complete and utterly wasted day. And
That's
then,
true,
that's
yeah.
makes you
But
feel
then,
so dejected.
but also, Glenn, just decide sometimes you're going to have a really wasted crap day and you're not going to do any work. But as long as it's part of your strategy,
Exactly.
it's okay.
Yeah.
If I went out the other day on St. David's Day, we went off and spent the day looking around a castle. And I felt I should be working. And then I thought, no, I shouldn't. This is my day off. I'm not working. Forget it. I'm not going to turn on the computer today. And I felt okay then. I wasn't in contention with myself. And I'm going to say one more thing very quickly, which is that last Friday, when I produced that strategy guide for myself, within 12 hours, I had a top blogger on my blog saying really nice things and putting me on his blog list. And that's how quickly, when you're, as you just said, when you're focused and passionate, how quickly that energy will go out there and reach people, the people you want to reach. And that's the passion again. It's very, 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 very powerful, that, and you can't measure it, and you can't even do anything with it. You just have to trust it.